All right, welcome to this awesome art tip. We're going to be talking about an awesome technology that is made for making interactive slide decks like the one that I'm showing here today. So why do you want to use this technology? It's called Xaringan or Xaringan, and it's basically for creating interactive PowerPoints. And why would you want to do that? Well, imagine if you're in a meeting and you need to have some sort of interactivity with either plots, being able to zoom in and show something, or if you have a map and you need to show where customers are located and why they're having certain situations and by geography, and so on. You have this ability now to make these PowerPoints that are essentially interactive. And it's using this technology called Xaringan. So that's what we're going to go over today. Let's do this. So we're going to make this slide deck today. And it's an interactive slide deck. It is all you need to do to get started here is go to Get, do the Get pool, and you're going to need to sign up in order to be able to get this code. All you'll do is you'll sign up for the Art Tips news list. I will put a link in the video comments. That's going to open up this library when you do that Get pool, and we're going to download 030 slide decks Xaringan, or Xaringan, depending on how you pronounce it. And in here, I'm going to be working out of this .rmd document. When you click that, it's going to open this up. Make sure you open up the outline too, and we'll get started. So Xaringan is this really cool technology that allows you to make this, but suppose I do not have this running yet. So how do I get this to run? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the knit button. So when I knit it, and then there's also an RStudio add-in called Infinite Mood Reader. You want to enable that as well. So let's check this out. So Moon Reader. So Moon Reader, Infinite Moon Reader. And what this does is as you make slide decks, your slides will automatically stay updated. So introduction, say I wanted to change this to intro. And as soon as I hit save, it automatically updates. So I get intro. Oh, I left the D. Control save. All right. Cool. So in our Xaringan, this is the metadata. We'll come back to most of these later. What I want to focus on is the CSS later. And you can also change the highlight style for your code. We'll talk about theming later. First things first though, let's get started. Let's jump into our first slide. So this comes from kind of an Rmarkdown-esque style of creating slides, and it makes it really super fast. Here's an example of how you would create your first slide. You just give it a title, and that puts it up here. A single, if I just did this as text, it moves this down here, but as soon as I put this pound sign, it makes an H1 header. So I'm going to do pound sign here, H1, and that puts awesome title right up there. You can add some text in, some bullets, and even some code. And I have code shown here. And this is with the Arta theme. So it's why it looks purple and yellow. Yeah, and then the other thing is don't forget to set up the Moon Reader, Infinite Moon Reader RStudio add-in. That allows you to make these super fast. So I'm going to put 2 underscores and make that bold. And you can see it automatically updates. Okay, so when you want to do a new slide, how would you start that? So you add 3 dashes. So if I do 3 dashes, and then this is a new slide. So I'm just going to do new slide, give it a title. And if I click the save button, this will update and it'll actually put me even on that new slide. So I've got my new slide here and I'm going to add some stuff in. This is a simple introduction to Xaringan. Okay, and that's how you would make a new slide. Slides can be updated, so we don't have to have just kind of this normal format. You can have a format where you have different classes. So this is a new slide that I'm on, and it has a class here that I've added for top center. What I can do is do bottom center, and as soon as I do bottom, it's going to move everything to the bottom. Okay, and you can't see the top center, I guess because of probably the theming, but it's still in here. If I make this an H2, you'll be able to see it. There we go, top, center, and it's actually bottom centered. You can use these kind of dot left and dot right to pull things to the left and to the right. So if I do bottom center or bottom right, these are going to be the default for the slides. And this dot left and dot right kind of overrides, pulls things to the left and to the right. So the default is bottom right. Not sure why this is on the left hand side. It should be on the right hand side, but I'm going to change this back. So top, and we'll do center. All right, so that's just a little bit about organizing the layouts. What we can do is then also do things like incremental reveals. So I'm going to do a new slide, and then think of this like a sub slide inside a slide. So the way this works is when you start on this slide, you can incrementally reveal as I hit the left and the right. It just adds more content. And if I want to do one final piece, and then I'll reveal it. So we'll do save this, and it should update. And let's do this, make sure I space that out. Okay, so now if I go over here, I have my incremental reveal, next, and then one final piece. Cool. All right, let's move on. One more thing. We've got two columns. So another layout that's very common, if you do dot pull left. So we saw dot left and dot right up here, and that kind of shifted things to the left and the right. Dot pull left and dot pull right. So this is all one right here, dot pull left. That creates this first column. And then dot pull right creates a second column. So this is basically a two-column layout. And you can add bullets here on the left-hand side, bullets on the right-hand side. And we'll see an example later where I make actually a plot with that two-column layout. All right, next, let's move on to highlights and adding code into your presentation. So one of the cool things you can do with your presentations is add interactivity. So this is just a static table, and this is how we can interact with some code and get a table in here. And we don't have to show the code if we don't want. So I know a lot of presentations you'll want to do echo equals false. And when you do that, what ends up happening is it'll get rid of the code block. So if you're speaking to non-technical people, you want to have something like this. But if you're speaking to other data scientists, you want to show the code. So just hit the save button and echo true, and you'll be able to see the code block and also the output. But it gets better. What we can do is we can actually start to include interactivity into these slide decks. So this is really cool. This is an example of a data table that's just been added in, and you can do your filtering. You know, if I want to look for cars made by Volkswagen. So these are all of the Volkswagen cars here. And I've just filtered that down. I can scroll down. You can make this wider too, or taller. What's really cool too is if I move here to the maps, I now have the ability to do interactive maps in my presentations. I know this is common if you're trying to look at like customers by region. You want to be able to pull a map up and showcase where those customers are located. So that's a very, very awesome thing, and it works just like a map should in your presentation. Plots, so you can do interactive plots. This is a time series plot from my TimeTK package, and I'm just using plot time series here to make these plots. And then also what's kind of common is you might want to do like a side-by-side plot. So this is how you would do that. Here, let me put this as a title and put this one as a title. So that way we give it a little more space. And if I hit the save button here, it'll rerun it and we'll have the plots now shown. So I've got my plots here and I got my plot here. Notice I'm doing the pull left here for the code that I want to show. And then for the plot that I want to output, I'm just saving it as P, and putting P right here, and it's going to execute P on the right hand side. So in this pull right section. Okay, and then the last thing I want to showcase is the themes. So we've got a lot of different themes, and this is really cool. So what we can do is actually update the themes right up here. So this is the list of themes that we had, and suppose I want to just list these themes out. We can do some different themes, like I'll pick, so right now I'm doing Metropolis, or the default theme with Metropolis, and if I do something like robot and robot fonts, let's try that one out. So I would just change this right up here, robot and robot fonts. When I save it, it'll update. Okay, and just like that, I have changed now to the robot theme. And you can see that the themes have completely updated. And this is now what our presentation looks like. And that's just a quick intro to Xaringan. If you want more, there's a lot more to cover. I've included a few resources here. Definitely check these out. This is actually the Allison Hills RStudio conference talk from 2019. That's how I made this presentation and learned a lot about Xaringan and the process. And then there's a few other, if you want to customize, and Yehu's original presentation, Presentation Ninja. So check those resources out. If you like this video, don't forget to sign up for the Tuesday Free Art Tips newsletter. You can just click this link here and it'll send you here. Put your email address in, and every Tuesday you'll get these videos, you'll get the code, and you'll get the tutorial right in your inbox.